Today on CityCast Chicago, we have talked about some of the best and our favorite bars in the city. But let's be real. Nothing beats a summertime Chicago house party. Doesn't matter if it's on the block, in the backyard, the alley, or in my mom's case, her sub basement. A few months ago, I talked to my mom about her classic wood paneled basement bar, and she gave us tips on how to be the perfect bartender slash host for your parties this summer. It's Wednesday, June 4th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about.
If I make another one, you'll drink half? I know. My brother called early this morning, but I missed it. About that. I ain't heard from him. Yeah, no, he called this morning. I missed him. And then Buki called me on my way.
I'm in the building with Teresa Farrell, a.k.a. Mama T, a.k.a. My Mama. Ma, this is your third time on the podcast. Welcome back to CityCast Chicago.
Thank you again for having me again.
First, you got to tell us a little bit about your Chicago basement bar. You got the classic wooden panels up, the mirror walls, and, you know, obviously the collection of bottles on the shelves. Tell me a little bit more about this bar. Did you build it yourself?
No, I did not build it myself. I just enhanced what was already there. And because of the nostalgic look, when I was changing things, that's the one thing I did not change, did not want to change.
Mm-hmm. When I posted the video, the comments started flooding in and people immediately were like, I didn't even need to check the location. I knew that was Chicago. They immediately had flashbacks of sitting down there with their granny. They immediately started calling you they mama and they auntie. All of us, including myself, we ain't got basement bars. I ain't even got no basement. I got a little bar cart. So if I'm trying to get on your level, I want to start building my own little pseudo Chicago basement bar. What are some essentials I need?
Well, it kind of depends on what your audience is going to be. I heard you say you don't even have a basement. So space, trying to get where I am, you need a little space. But without that space, some of the smaller things, depending on what your audience is, what you like to drink, what other people like to drink, sometimes juices are good because you'll use those for mixers. You might want to get a shaker. Do you want a plastic shaker? Do you want a stainless steel shaker? It depends. Plastic shakers are good if you're serving drinks over ice. Stainless steels are better if you're serving drinks that are not over ice, because when you put the ice in it with the stainless steel, it makes it and keeps it colder.
Mm-hmm.
You can use, just starting out, you can get a shot glass and use that as your quote unquote measuring cup. Everybody, they want the little fancies. You don't really need that. You can just, because at some point, by the time you get to drink number 4, how much are you really measuring? But a small shot glass is pretty good.
So out the gate, I don't need like ice molds, a fancy jigger, like a nice Japanese stirring spoon.
Those are great things, and I have those, but starting out, you don't need them.
The sheer amount of bottles that you have around your basement bar, do you have a rough estimate of how many there are?
Probably I could fill up a small liquor store.
The number of times people said, is that the liquor store? I thought it was the liquor store. I never seen somebody sit at the counter and make drinks at the liquor store. Okay, so what's a small liquor store? We talking like 200?
A little more.
300?
A little more.
400?
A little more, but we'll stop there.
Oh yeah, we gonna stop there. You have things that people can instantly recognize that they might find at bars and speakeasies and restaurants around the city of Chicago, but you also got things that are very rare, things that, maybe aren't often seen in liquor stores around Chicago. How and where do you source the number of bottles that you got?
Where? Anywhere. I go from Costco to Costa Rica. I've gone from the grocery store, Jewel, to a bourbon tour in Kentucky or Nashville. So where some people, women in particular, they like jewelry. So when they go to New York, they're looking for jewelry and they're looking for handbags. And me, I'm looking for bourbons and I'm looking, for spirits.
When did you start collecting? I know you don't use the word collection often because you drink things and you
Right.
replenish them, but when did you start collecting? When I think back to being a kid, I might remember some daiquiris every now and then, or La Boone's Farm, and a nice little a wine holder above the door with some plants hanging over it. But when did you start becoming more of a connoisseur?
I would say right before and going into COVID. And that's simply because I entertain. And during COVID, you couldn't go out much. You had to, stay inside, and your circle of people was small. You couldn't do a lot of things. And so, one of the things I did during COVID was I made my house, more comfortable, more inviting. Because I couldn't go anywhere, I needed to make sure that everything I needed, everything I wanted was there.
And you always make sure you have things for other people, that you have things that other people like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I do a lot of entertaining. And so, do I drink out of every single bottle that I have? Probably not. Have I tasted it? Yes. Do I like it? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, my small circle, I make sure that I have and keep things that everybody else likes as well.
Mhm.
And then stuff that I can introduce them to, or things that, I can tell them they like that they don't
Mhm.
know that they like yet.
Maybe introduce me to a couple of spirits that you like. One of the questions that kept coming up was people wanted to know if there were some black owned labels that you really enjoy.
There are a couple, and there are a couple bourbons. One is it's called Renard's, and then there's another one that's Alexander. Those are actually people that I know, and they are pretty good. Some like there's a bourbon that I like, Happenstance. I can only get Happenstance in Tennessee. You can't
Mm.
get it anywhere else. So when I go to Nashville, I get 3 or 4 bottles because I'm not going to Nashville until next year. But the Alexander and the Renards, those are the ones, Chicago people that are here.
All right, so let's start with some of your favorite recipes, and let's talk about a couple of your favorite cocktails to make. And let's go with the sidecar, which so many people were impressed with on the TikToks.
Well, that particular sidecar, I use Martell Blue Swift.
Hmm. Which is a cognac.
It is a cognac. I also use, actually, I use two triple sec because I use Grand Marnier. Grand Marnier is a triple sec, but some people just drink it as just a liqueur.
Hmm.
And so I use that, and then I use Cointreau, which is another triple sec. There's a splash of lemon juice, and then I top off my shaker with Simply pineapple juice. I use more Simply products than not because I just like them better. But you can also use Dole. Those are the two pineapple juices that make a good cocktail. And then you shake it. And again, I do a sugar rim, and I do that because the drink has a lot of sugar. It's the liqueurs are sugar.
Hmm.
And you can do it without a sugar rim, but that's the one that was, you know, the TikTok phenom.
I was going to ask, what are the things you do to make it a little extra fancy? It sounds like the sugar rim. And then do you finish off with any garnish?
I do. There are two garnishes that I use because the triple secs that I use have an orange finish on them. I use either dried oranges or I take I have decorative toothpicks and I put cherries on them and lay it across the top of the glass. Because with that, even though it's a cognac and it's a sidecar, and you usually want to put it in a whiskey glass, depending on who's drinking it, I like to put mine in a martini glass.
All right, so we talked about your sidecar. I know another one of your favorites is a Moscow Mule. How do you like it?
The Moscow Mule, I like. I make a Moscow Mule and I make a Kentucky Mule. The Moscow Mule I like with Tito's. I have tried making this Moscow Mule with, and I can make it with tequila as well, but the regular Moscow Mule, I use vodka and I use Tito's. I have tried it with Belvedere. I have tried it with Grey Goose. I have tried it with Absolute. It does not taste that good unless you're using Tito's. So I use Tito's, I use a splash of lime juice, and I use a ginger beer.
Mhm.
I usually use ginger beer in a bottle, not in a can, because it tastes a little different. I put those in the copper glasses, and I do that so that the drink stays cold. And then I garnish that with fresh mint.
That sounds so good. I don't typically drink no vodka.
Yeah. And a lot of people that don't drink vodka that I've had to the house and they don't like vodka, I substitute the vodka for tequila.
Hmm. Well, let's go with a drink that you normally use tequila in. And that's your blueberry lemonade.
Yes, I do Casamigos tequila because it's good for a mixer. I use simply blueberry lemonade, and then I muddle fresh blueberries,
Hmm.
and that becomes part of the inside of the drink more so than a garnish.
Now, if people want a cocktail that is easy and fast to make, what are some of your favorites?
This time of year, one of my favorites is a warm caramel apple.
Ooh.
And what I do with that is I use apple crown royal. I use Martinelli's apple juice and I heat it up. And then I take Ghirardelli's caramel and line the inside of my glass or my cup. I pour the warm apple crown and apple juice in it. And then I garnish that with sliced Granny Smith apples.
I love that I said easy and fast. And he was like, we are actually going to do lavish and impressive. That's what we're going to go with. The warm caramel apple, which the
Well,
base
okay, I'll give you
ingredients.
a faster one. I'll give you a faster one. How about peach crown royal and peach simply lemonade?
Just two straight to the point.
Just two straight to the point.
And if you want to be fancy, because I know you got an option for it, what do you do?
I put peaches in it. Fresh peaches.
All right. So right now it's clear that you like you a good whiskey. You like Crown. You've used the Crown apple, the Crown peach. Is there another Crown flavor that you like?
Blackberry crown is good too if you got a slushy machine, especially if you got that ninja slushy machine.
Hey, now if we talking about TikTok, I think this thing probably went viral in so many households. It sold out. When I went to buy my Christmas tree at Home Depot, I was eavesdropping on two of the individuals who worked there, and one of them was like, "I really want to get my mom this for Christmas, but it's sold out everywhere." I didn't try to get it online. I tried to get it in person, and I was like, "Yeah, my mom got it." So, all right, if we thinking about something that really impresses people, you've been knocking people out since around Thanksgiving with these slushies. What's your go-to what's your go-to slushy?
Blackberry crown royal, Stella Rosa blackberry wine, ginger ale, and muddled blackberries.
So this video, as of right now, as the time when we were recording this, has been seen nearly 280,000 times, has almost 800 comments, and almost 60,000 likes. Some of the comments that I see the most are people immediately recognizing this as a Chicago basement, talking about how their parents or their grandparents have similar bars, and of course, asking if they can come over. The answer to that last one is hell no. But how does it feel knowing that this connected with so many people, especially in Chicago?
A little overwhelming
Mm.
right now. I because I was completely oblivious. I don't think I've processed it all the way, but hey, this is Chicago. This is what we do.
Hmm. I mean, as early as I can remember, we have been a house where all of our friends could come over, all of your friends come over, where our family felt comfortable. What does it mean to be the person in our family who's continuing that tradition that is the place we go for our holidays, for our kickbacks? And for me and you, we was just sitting there watching the playoffs. You was calling our Uncle Dink to basically laugh in his face that his Commanders had just lost. Like what? Like that's the kind of moments we make down there. What does it mean to have that basement bar, that classic Chicago basement bar, and be that place for so many people?
It's gratifying.
Hmm.
It is. It's gratifying because I'm just being me. I'm just being my authentic self, and it's a place where other people can come and be their authentic selves, and we just have a good time. It's a family connection. It's our, you know, family reunion for everybody. We get together. We just have a good time, I'm glad that I can be that person in that place to do that.
Granny would be proud of you, and I know she is.
Thank you.
Y'all, that was Mama T. If you want to get these recipes, run this episode back. Get out your pen, your paper, your phone, write them down. Y'all, join me in thanking my mama for being here today. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Make sure you follow along with all CityCast Chicago has to offer by bookmarking our website, chicago.citycast.fm. Of course, we can't let you go without some good news. Yesterday, we were talking about Chonkosaurus and river conservation, and I want to let y'all know that the Shed Aquarium's Kayak for Conservation program starts up this Friday and runs through the end of September. This is actually the group I went out with for my very first kayaking experience on the river, and I learned so much about the conservation efforts over the last 30 or so years. I got to learn about all of the different species of animals that call the river home. And I got to build up my confidence to go out there on my own. So it was a very good time, and it's a program I would suggest whether you are a beginner or a seasoned kayaker. I will drop links for you in the show notes. As always, I appreciate you for listening, reading, taking a little step into my world. I appreciate you. We're going to be back bright and early tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Peace.